Welcome, my dear friends, to our Voice of His Kingdom weekly devotion. This is our episode 52, and we shall be taking our text from the book of Exodus, chapter 2. Our core verses are from verses 23 to 25. Let's read them together. During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and He remembered His covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. Let's look at the background to our text, my friends. Israelites, as we know, became slaves in Egypt after the death of Joseph and their patriarchs. Then another generation of Egyptians that didn't know Joseph and his brothers arose and enslaved the Israelites. Moses had grown up an Egyptian in Pharaoh's palace, but was actually born an Israelite. He sought to identify with his community of birth, which landed him in trouble. And before Pharaoh could lay hold of him, he escaped and left Egypt. Moses fled to Midian, where he met and married Zipporah as his wife. And while he was there, the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, died. The Israelites, however, continued to groan in their slavery, but God remembered their suffering and the covenant He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You remember in Genesis chapter 15, He has said to Abraham that the land on which you reside as an alien, I will give to you and your descendants forever. Okay, my friends, let's look at some of the key lessons from our text. Number one, when we cry out to God, reminding Him of His promises, of His covenants, God will answer. In 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14, it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. The second key lesson, my friends, God acts according to His own timing and season. He will answer our prayers, but God has His own timing and seasons. He had told Abraham that his descendants will be enslaved in Egypt for 400 years before deliverance will come. So as Israel cried out unto God, God certainly will answer those prayers, but God has His own plans, His own timing, His own seasons for His answers to our prayers. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. So God is concerned, my friends, about our plight in life, but will intervene at His own appointed time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1. He said there is a time for everything, a season for every activity under heaven. So what can we take away or apply in our lives from our text? In God's own time, He makes all things beautiful. And I would like you to never forget that. In His own time. The programs are His own programs. The timing and seasons are His own timing and His own season. He has plans and programs for you, and He will work it out in His own specific time and season. Israel was to remain in Egypt and be enslaved for 400 years. At the exact moment He stepped out to deliver them out of their slavery. And He still does the same today. As we can see in the case of Sarah in Genesis chapter 21 verse 2. The Bible said that Sarah bore Isaac at God's set time. She was 90 She could have had Isaac at 80. God could have done it, but he waited because he had a set time. What about Hannah? Hannah also had her baby Samuel at God's own set time. She came to Shiloh year after year after year. But in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 20, the Bible says, in the course of time, Hannah conceived and gave birth to a son. So, my dear friends, God appoints each event in our lives and brings them to pass as we walk with Him. Let's walk together with God so He can bring to pass the events He has programmed for you. God bless you and thank you for listening.